Good evening, everyone. For today's class, we will be talking about financial mastery and cash flow management. It's our 8th week, and I'd like to thank everybody for staying with us. Let me start with something that might make some of you uncomfortable. You can be profitable and still go out of business. Revenue can look strong. Reports can look clean. Your P&L can show a profit, and you can still miss payroll. That's not theory. That's reality in commercial cleaning. Tonight, we're not talking about motivation. We're talking about survival. We're talking about financial mastery, because profit is math, cash flow is timing, and timing determines whether you sleep at night. Let's simplify this. If you do $50,000 in revenue and $40,000 in expenses, you made $10,000 profit on paper. But what happens if your client pays in 45 days and payroll hits in 14? You're short. That's the difference. Profit tells you if you made money. Cash flow tells you when you have money. And if you don't respect that difference, the business will humble you. Commercial cleaning is especially vulnerable to this because we front load costs. We hire immediately. We buy supplies immediately. We pay insurance immediately. But revenue that arrives 30, 45, or sometimes 60 days later, that gap is where businesses suffocate. Real world example, the $25,000 contract. Let's walk through something real. You win a $25,000 contract. It feels like momentum, right? But before that client pays, you've spent $15,000 on payroll, $2,000 on supplies, $1,000 on insurance. You're already $18,000 out the door. Now, let's say payment gets delayed to 45 days. You could be floating $25,000 to $27,000. Do you have that sitting in your account? Most don't. This is where operators start stressing. This is where shortcuts begin. This is where desperation pricing creeps in, and desperation is expensive. The 4 financial pillars. Strong cleaning businesses don't just watch revenue. They protect 4 pillars simultaneously: revenue, expenses, cash reserves, profit margins. If one weakens, the structure becomes unstable. Revenue is your top line. Contracts growing or shrinking. Expenses, especially payroll, must be controlled monthly. Cash reserves are your buffer, your oxygen tank. Profit margins are what you actually keep. Target 15 to 25% net per contract. If your margins are thin and your reserves are weak, growth becomes dangerous. Payroll pressure. Let's talk about the biggest exposure in your business. Payroll typically represents 50 to 65% of total revenue. Small pricing mistakes compound into devastating losses. You can negotiate supplies. You cannot negotiate payroll. If you underbid by $1,500 per month, that's $18,000 per year. And over 3 years, $54,000 gone. That was not because you worked less, because you priced wrong. Every underbid lives in your business for years. That's not a mistake. That's structural damage. Building cash reserves. So what do disciplined operators do? They build reserves. Minimum goal, 1 month of operating expenses. Start saving 3 to 5% monthly. And this reserve is not for convenience, right? It's for true emergencies. Client payment 30 plus days late. Equipment failure, sudden staffing gap, insurance compliance issue, right? Reserves buy time, right? And time prevents desperation. Like, I've seen businesses survive major client losses calmly because they had cushion. I've also seen businesses panic over one late invoice because they didn't. The difference wasn't revenue, right? It was discipline. Managing client payment terms. Now let's get strategic. Net 15, excellent. Net 30, standard. Net 45, tight. Net 60, dangerous. If you accept extended terms without planning working capital, you are financing your client's business. Invoice immediately after service. Follow up 5 days before due date, and y'all. Request deposits on large contracts and consider early pay incentives carefully. Late invoicing equals late money, and late money equals stress. Monthly financial review. Every month review 5 numbers and total revenue. Are contracts growing or shrinking? Payroll percentage. Is it staying within 50 to 65%? Total expenses. Any unexpected increases? Net profit. Are margins holding? Cash in bank. Can you cover the next 30 days? Small leaks sink big ships when ignored. Most businesses don't fail suddenly. They erode slowly. Monthly review prevents erosion. Scaling without breaking cash flow. Now let's talk about growth. All right. You land $60,000 in new contracts. Celebration, right? But payroll starts immediately. All right. Payment arrives in 30 to 45 days. You may need $40,000 to $70,000 in working capital to bridge that gap. Can you float payroll? Do you have reserves? Do you have a line of credit? Are margins strong enough to justify scaling? Scaling without planning turns success into stress. Growth at thin margins makes cash problems worse. I mean, I've seen owners win big contracts, then lose sleep every Thursday wondering how payroll clears. And that's not growth. That's pressure. Smart scaling is finance scaling.